Hi, it's Winton Churchill with the Barefoot Consultants. And we had a few questions in our regular Tuesday night call. People wanted to get a better understanding of our guide to freelance writing, editing, and proofreading. And so I did a separate session after the meeting last night. Unfortunately, we had a technical problem with the first few slides, so I'm going to re-record those here, and then you can see the balance of the presentation. We decided to put a special on for this, so you'll have all the details in there, and of course in the email that you're taking a look at this from. And happy to answer any questions that you might have. This product is one that Carrie and I developed after we saw people coming into our programs, usually our flagship program, 21 Days in the Freelancing World, and also in our research program. And there were lots of people that had very good writing skills that they'd exhibited in their work and their lives, but they'd never been formally trained as a writer, or they never had the job title writer or editor, that kind of thing. So this product really came out of that need to answer the question of, listen, I write a lot of my work. I've been writing emails for 25 years. People say I communicate well. I write reports for the boss. I write press releases at work, all that kind of stuff, but I haven't been formally trained. And can you give me some tools that will help me move into online writing and editing and proofreading? And so that's what this is all about. So here we go. So the reason that we did this, or the reason this exists, is there's almost 2 billion websites out there, and they have an insatiable demand for content. And up until the COVID situation came along, there was just ongoing, steady, increasing demand for people that know how to write things, who knew how to explain things in writing, who had conversational writing skills, editing skills, proofreading skills, that kind of thing. Now we're dealing with a COVID situation and coming out of that, and every business has to increase the volume of communication that they have with their employees, their clients, their stakeholders, their investors, whoever it might be. So we anticipate huge new demands for writing work and all around this, because every business in the world is forced to change all at once. They have to comply with new regulations. They have to talk to their clients about how to work with their business, what their new marketing strategy is, and all kinds of stuff. So lots of opportunity around that. And we're going to go through some of the big picture stuff on what I would call the 30,000 foot level here in the first few slides. And then we'll get more into the detail. Okay, so becoming a freelance writer is the path that many people use to get into the freelance world. But as I just mentioned, a lot of people are uncomfortable about hanging their writing shingle out because they've never had the title writer, or they've never been published, or that kind of thing. And so the question is, how do you become successful if you're in that mode? And so the thing is, this is not a get-rich-quick kind of course. Lots of courses that say make a lot of money in a very short period of time. If you do, that's not, if that's what you're looking for, this is not for you. This is a course that's great for helping you start small and build your writing muscle or editing muscle, and begin to do small jobs on online marketplaces and learn the ropes and build your portfolio. And so a different strategy, we're not going to promise $1 bazillion, but we are going to say that if you take these tools and apply them, you can effectively do simple assignments. And we always talk about what you want to do is find a client who gets who you are, appreciates what you do, and then has you do repeat business. So this is really designed for beginners, people that are just learning how to use the freelance platforms. There's insider tips for selecting jobs and writing proposals. So how do you find these jobs that really lend themselves to that getting started mode? And of course, as we recommend, you start with small, simple jobs. And the great thing about this program is we use things called templates, which we'll talk about in just a moment, but you never have to start with a blank sheet of paper, and that's very important in all of this. So this is, as mentioned before, you already probably write daily. In your job, you've been writing daily for maybe 20, 30, 40 years. So lots of experience writing, lots of experience communicating, lots of experience potentially talking with people on the phone and that sort of thing. These templates that are a big part of this program help hack the writing process. Because if you're looking at a job on a freelance network, it might say, I need a how-to article, or I need a press release, or I need an expository article on a process, or that kind of thing. And you have no idea where to go with that. It's all about organizing it. And no great way to hack that unless you have some tools like this. I personally did not write a lot of articles in my life until fairly late in that. And when I discovered templates, it just takes a lot of the stress out of organizing what you're doing and having the confidence to know what you're going to be providing for a client. The kinds of freelance writing that we cover in this course are article writing, extremely popular, blog writing, and the lines between blog writing and social media are blurring now. You'll see a lot of stuff that goes into blog writing also winding up on social media and vice versa. But blog writing is it's an area. Web content, this is anything that goes on a web page. It could be their about page. It could be describing products, describing services, that sort of thing. Newsletter writing, many companies around the world have newsletters, and that's something they do every week or twice a month or once a month. And they have an insatiable demand on an ongoing basis for writing to fill the newsletter, and they want it to be engaging and interesting to their clients. Social media, we've seen how it's exploded with all its glory and foibles and that kind of thing. But social media is where people learn a lot, again, about products and services. So there's lots of different things that you can write in the social media area and ongoing requirements. If you've ever been in a business that used social media, you understand how difficult it is to keep coming up with good stuff. So being able to find a writer that knows how to do that and can bring a fresh look to that is fabulous. There's a lot of research out now that shows that if you're going to maximize your social media potential, you need to be coming up with 3 posts or more a day. And so that's 90 posts a month. And so you can see the tremendous volume of stuff. And a lot of these are very short. They might be a graphic with 10 words, 25 words, 50 words, that kind of thing, but just a huge demand for that. And then, of course, sales emails. We all get them every day. Some are horrible, some are interesting, and some fall somewhere in between. And there is a specific process for creating those, and we cover that in this program as well. In addition to that, the templates that we have in here, we have checklists and what we call cheat sheets. And these are things that help you beat writer's block. And they help you jumpstart the writing process and help you get the ball going so that in essence, whatever you're writing has a quality where if you've organized it properly, it can basically write itself. You get a rough draft and then you tune that up and then you tune that up, but that's far better than staring at a blank sheet of paper. The other thing we talk about in here is learning specific writing styles. You have a writing style, I have a writing style, and then when I work for different companies, they want something to be more conversational, other people want it to be more formal. And so understanding how you as a writer can shift gears and give that client exactly what they want. The other thing is quickening your pace. When I first started writing articles, a simple article that was 500 to 600 words would take me maybe 3 or 4 days to write. And I would agonize over it and I would worry about, is that the way to open the article? Is that the way to close the article? That kind of thing. We talk in this program about how to quicken your pace. That's something that you can consciously do. And I would spend 3 or 4 days on a 500-600 word article. And now I can knock one out in about 2 hours because I use the organizational tips that we're sharing in here. And of course, what that means is that as a freelancer, you're earning more money per hour. A lot of freelancers on these networks misunderstand this basic concept. They say, how do I earn more money per hour? It's not, sometimes it's raising your rates, but it's a lot more clever if you can figure out how to increase the speed or improve the amount of time that it takes to actually do the assignment. So that's an important concept here. So let's talk a little bit about what templates do. First of all, they provide structure. I would make outlines and notebooks, and the old proverbial stereotype we have of the writer cranking the paper in and typing a few words and then ripping it out and crumpling it up and throwing it in the trash and doing that over and over again. So what this does is it helps provide some structure for that. You'll see how to write a how-to article, how to write an exposition article, how to write a biographical article, and you have a framework for doing that. And it gives you direction of how do you do that. Some of these templates, the best way to do that is to conduct an interview. And we have a lot of the things that you want to pick up in the interview so that you can put those into the template. There are things that will help you generate ideas, a little bit of a brainstorm with your client. Clients really appreciate this. A lot of times they're hiring a writer because they don't know how to write themselves. And if you can bring some brainstorming capability to the process, that's very powerful. And it's also very simple to do, and we'll share that with you here. We've talked about how they reduce time, how it improves your turnaround. One important thing is the structure of these templates is based on proven formulas that are used in communication and in persuasion. So you have templates and a path laid out in terms of how to move people to take action, whether it's to sign up for a newsletter, or it might be buy a product or make a donation to a nonprofit organization or that kind of thing. So again, very helpful in that regard. And so here's some of the templates with the resource article, writing about resources. Here's 5 good resources for the woodworker. Motivational articles could be for remote workers now. Lots of motivational articles out now about how to stay motivated as you're working at home and that kind of thing. There's an encyclopedia article, which is yet another kind of article that we go into. The tips articles are very important. And you might say, what's the difference between a tips article and a resource article? These are phrases that people that are buying writing services use. And in the course, we go into depth so that you understand what the difference is between these. Of course, we have product review articles, how-to articles, FAQ for frequently asked questions articles, and the rant article is a great example. And we go into some detail in that. And we see a lot of demand for that kind of thing right now. People they feel very powerful about the direction of their business as they've gone through the pandemic. They want to assure their clients that they're not only are they going to come back, but they're going to come back better than ever. And so that's the kind of thing that people are looking for. And if you haven't had some specific coaching and a template to use on writing that kind of article, it's obviously much more difficult. And so we have templates for blogs, and I'm not going to go into all of these. You can just read down the list, but these are phrases that you'll see posted in online jobs. And so what you want to do is make sure that you understand what those phrases are. So there's quite a few blog templates in there. And again, these are terms of art. These are the people that will be buying your writing services are likely to use these kinds of terms. And they want you to understand what they mean when you do that. And these templates do that. You can go in there and find the critical blog post template, and you can see a format for how you put that together and make everything come together there. So another very valuable thing. um, how to write engaging content. This is a checklist. There's certain structure to every piece of work that you do. How to create an attention grabbing title, how to determine points of interest, what do you put in the opening sentence, what do you finishing touches do you put in the article, do you bring in a story, do you bring in an expert, that sort of thing. Do you find a quote or a research source or maybe even a graph or that kind of thing. And so there's a checklist for rounding out your article. It's not just writing, it's communicating. And so this helps you with that. And then we talked a little bit about social media writing. Today, this is the most popular way that many businesses interact with their clients. And it's important to win the social media game. Most companies don't do it very well, and they have increased demand for content. And of course, what they want those folks to do is not just read the content, but engage more with the company. And there's material in this program that talks about how do you create that engagement, a very important aspect of that, and something that you want to frankly emphasize when you propose these kind of jobs is that you're not just writing, you're creating materials that help engage clients. So we have tons of templates. There's over 200 templates for writing social media posts, starter sentences, tweet ideas, social media grabbers, that kind of thing. And we explain, and also on our Tuesday night call, we talk about different aspects of this to help you understand the social media landscape. We have people in our program that understand it very well, and we have people not so much. They may use social media quite a bit, but they're not using it beyond their being a user of it. And there's a whole strategy and layer of activity to learn underneath that. And then, of course, writing sales emails. And the majority of small businesses to this day find email is the most effective way to promote their products and services. And there are very fancy and complex long emails about certain products and services and missions and all that kind of stuff. But there are also certain formulas that you can use. Again, this is conversational speaking and that kind of thing. So the templates around the sales emails and how to elicit information from your client that they want folded into the sales email is very valuable. And most businesses that are tapping into a writer, they don't have time for a full-time copywriter writing sales emails. So this is the perfect freelancing kind of job. And for many companies and many organizations, what they provide to their clients is changing. So they're through the pandemic and everything, they're having to adapt and change their business. So lots and lots of sales stuff has to be rewritten now.
And so here's 50 fill in the blank sales emails. Again, templates that you customized for the target audience that you are going for. You create an engaging first sentence. So you have lots of samples of engaging first sentences. One of the things that most people that don't study copywriting don't realize is that people tend to respond to getting out of pain or avoiding pain in the future. That's a much more compelling reason for people to engage in products and services rather than talking about what a great product it is and that kind of thing. People, when they spend their money, in most cases, are looking for solutions. And then within these templates, we have what are called calls to action. This is a structure that is used in the copywriting field that has been measured to enhance the potential for somebody buying when they read your piece of information. So in addition to the writing, proofreading and editing is a lot of times where people get started on this because they just want to get on these freelance systems. They want to get comfortable with doing simple jobs before they're under any kind of pressure to be creative. If you're doing proofreading somebody's already done the creative work. You're just helping them polish it, that kind of thing. And you don't have to read very far on the web before you see companies that should have used a proofreader or an editor to improve what they have. Upwork has a lot of small jobs on it doing this kind of work, and it's a great way to get started. In fact, in my mind, it's like doing the weights at the gym. If you haven't been in the gym for a while, you don't want to go start with the big weights. You want to work with the smaller weights till you build up some resilience and strength and that kind of thing. And with Upwork, you can do jobs as small as editing or proofreading 2 or 3 pages of written material. And you can also do large jobs like editing an entire novel or ebook, very popular way to go. And so some of the training that we provide in this is some training on Microsoft Word's track changes feature. This is the language of proofreading, and it's very simple to use. And a lot of people, after we show them this, say, wow, that's a lot simpler than I thought it was. You have to walk through it the first time to understand that. You want to understand, we're seeing more Google Docs now. It's something that comes up from time to time. And then another tool that we talk frequently about is one called Grammarly that really helps polish the work that you do. So it's always embarrassing to send something to a client and for it to have a glaring error. And Grammarly is the kind of tool that corrects virtually all of those glaring errors. You don't use I was just writing something this afternoon and I'd use the 2 words twice. I was just writing and thinking about it, not really looking at the screen, and I never would have caught that error had I not had grammar. The 3 unique things about this course is it helps you understand when to bid on a job and when to pass on a job. One of the wonderful aspects of it in my mind is this quality execution questionnaire. It's the information that you sit down with when you first get the job with your client and make sure you get the big picture about what's going on with the job and what style and what tone and who's the audience and all that kind of thing. It's a fairly extensive questionnaire, but it really sends a message to the client that you're on top of your game. You're doing a comprehensive analysis. Clients are subcontracting or contracting to a freelancer because they don't want to have to think about all the detail of it. But the piece you're writing has to have a sufficient level of detail. And this is the way to get exactly that level of detail out of it. And then the other aspect of this is this will help you create portfolio items if you're just getting started as a writer. And so we're going to touch on each of these as we go through this. There's a couple things about what kind of categories you want to bid on. There are things to identify with particular clients to make sure that you want to work with clients that are experienced enough. And there's certainly, and as we've talked about on our Tuesday night calls, there's ways to look at the profile of the client and see how long they've been in there. We give some deeper guidelines on that and really help you find your comfort zone. I must say that having been working with people the better part of 13 years on this stuff, it's really great when somebody finds the kind of writing that they just loved to do. And I know one of our members they started with us in the Elance days. So this has been about 5 years ago now. And they transitioned to Upwork. And they do a certain kind of science fiction novel. They edit those. And she does, and she had not done it before, but she was just a good editor. Was very good with words. And she didn't know she liked science fiction. She got a job that was science fiction, edited it. The author was delighted. The author had another book in the wing. She edited that and then started picking up other science fiction. She built a little bit of a reputation for herself and being able to edit science fiction, and went on, and that's what she does a lot of to this day. So other things that you look for is where somebody is looking for not enough detail. When somebody posts a job like this, a one sentence posting, that's a very good indication that they're going to be a very hard client to work for. They don't know what they want. You'll keep giving them examples of what you think they want, and they'll keep saying things, well, that's not quite it. Could you take it in this direction, or could you write that? And so in terms of building your career and your expertise and your reputation as quickly as possible, we just go through a lot of stuff that helps you stay away from things. Now, this, on the other hand, is a very well written job. The client over here, you can see on the right hand side, has a great higher rate. They've been on the system for 5 years. The article is very organized, gives you a lot of detail about the writing and that kind of thing. So it's just a very good article, or a very good assignment, and you know what you're getting into with a client like this. And this is the kind of client you want to work with, one that's well organized, know how the pieces fit together, and know how to communicate that to you. And just circling back around to the quality execution questionnaire, it's all about, number one, getting the information you need to write well. It's giving your client showing your professionalism, and that you're focused on getting the result that they're looking for. Again, many people writing, and I've hired many writers on these systems to write articles for us, or manuals, or different things over the years. They just go, they don't think about what they're writing, or they don't think about the audience, or that kind of thing. And so this questionnaire really helps line everything out pretty precisely. And this is an example of what to ask your client before you start up on a social media project, for example. What are they looking for in terms of desired outcomes, results? What are their preferred post type? In some cases, we ask for what sites do they like the writing on those sites or on those social media pages? What resources do they recommend? So lots of detail as you go through these questionnaires. And so we talked a little bit about the portfolio items, and you have to create your portfolio items. And if you want to be a writer, people want to look at some things that you've written. They don't necessarily want to look at things that you've published. They'd much rather see an example of what you've written rather than something that has only met the criteria of been published. And we show you how to create those samples of articles to show your unique style, your writing style, your sort of point of view, your ability to tell a story, whatever it might be. You can develop examples of writing. Some are creative and more right brain, some are explanatory and more left brain, and this is what you want to show in your portfolio, is that diversity. And so there's a whole section in there that goes into creating your portfolio samples. There's an overarching document in terms of creating walking through a process brings you to this point of writing and working with clients. So it's a 9-step process that we go through, an all-in-one guide. And with this, you're in the driver's seat. You get to work as much or as little as you want. This is a very popular course with people that live abroad, because it lets you tune in your lifestyle the way you want it. And that is a very important aspect of being a writer. I know some people that like to write across the spectrum of topics. Other people like to just focus in one particular area where they have deep expertise or deep interest or knowledge of some kind or another. So the course includes 7 modules. There's over 50 short training videos. These are 2-minute, 3-minute, 5-minute sort of videos, but they're very specific and to the point of the topic. One of the reasons we did that is we want you to be able to go back And if you have a question when you're working with a client, you don't have to watch hours of videos. You can go back to the specific video on the question you have. And there's 65 written lessons, including templates, checklists, cheat sheets, the quality execution questionnaire, and portfolio follow-alongs. And let's see here. And then right now you're in our freelance membership program, and when you purchase a product, that goes for a year, and then after that you pay month by month. The continuation rate on that is $15 a month, but if you purchase this product, you get another full year tacked on to the year that you have initially. So that's the equivalent of, what is it, about $180 worth of member on our Tuesday night call and the replays and all that kind of thing. So you're able to participate in the training webinars, you get the newsletter. We will also do a profile review. So if you share your profile with us, we'll have one of our coaches look at that and make recommendations on how to improve that. Now, many of you have received that as part of, if you purchased our 21 days program, for example. But what we found is that lots of people, as they go into writing, they want to shape their profile a little bit differently. And now that Upwork has these standardized, these specialized profiles, you're able to, you might want to have a completely writing focused or editing focused profile. You could have a writing specialized profile and an editing and proofreading specialized profile. And of course, you get our email support through that. And Carrie and I worked together on this product, and she put together this sale. Okay, so this is a good question from Sally. How do you control which profile a client sees? Generally, you're proposing on jobs. And if you're proposing on a writing job, you propose under a specialized profile. So that person, the buyer, is taken back to your specialized profile. They don't see your main profile. They could click around and eventually get to it. But the big advantage of specialized profiles for freelance buyers is they don't have to read all about your other experience to decide whether they want you to do writing work. So it's Upwork kind of controls that through by the selections you make initially. Good question. And if anybody would like to unmute and ask a question, I'm happy to take the question that way as well.
It's Janet. I have a question.
Yeah, Janet, hi.
Hi. So I purchased the 21 days program quite a while ago, and I haven't had a chance to go through it yet to my level of satisfaction that I want to.
Sure.
So we'll have two questions. What is the difference? This one seems like it focuses on writing. And then should I do the 21 days first and then sign up for this as a follow-up? Like,
yes.
What will get me going quicker?
The 21 days gets you into the system and working on a wider variety of jobs. This one takes you more precisely down the path of writing, editing, and proofreading. And the general advice would be it's best to do the 21 days first and then come into something like this once you have a comfort working with the system. That said, we've had people that do it both ways. There's some people that they know that writing is what they want to do. They just come in through this path and they do it as well. But the 21 days program has more general information about freelancing in lots of different kinds of assignments, including the writing area. But
okay, thank you. Yeah, I am very interested in writing, so maybe I can do double time on both of them. I don't know.
Yes, it's possible. I'm sensitive, especially now we're in a crazy time, but there's just so much, in my mind, writing activity coming now as we come out of this pandemic, because every business, every organization, every nonprofit is having to change a major aspect of how they work. And this means rewriting procedures, communicating those procedures to customers and clients, communicating those procedures internally to employees. So there's just lots of different opportunities in this area coming up. And of course, we're all working virtually like we never had before. It was going to be at least another 5 years before people were as comfortable working virtually as they had to get in the last few months just to keep the wheels on.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Thanks, Janet. Gert, was that a question or a hand swat? Okay. All righty. Yes. Can I pay with the sales price and choose when I start my year? Yes, you can. That's what we call a delayed start, and we can do that. So if you want to purchase it now and then start it in January, for example, we would do that for you. Thank you, Steve. That's nice.
Jen, this is Guy.
Yes.
So I had asked how long, I had gone in the chat and asked the question, how long was but I have several other questions. One, how long is the 197 price?
So yes, I know that feeling.
Okay, great.
So yeah, next Monday night.
Okay, great. So I'm interested in the proofreading part,
Yes.
possibly editing, because I have published a novel before for
Oh, neat.
someone. So how much of the course is proofreading? A little bit of it writing, because I have done websites of my own and done some of my
Sure.
own writing. But
Yes.
how much of the course is the proofreading?
I would say that's about 20% of the course. So
Okay.
the majority of the emphasis is on the writing.
And
part
the
of it.
editing part?
Yes, yeah, 20% on the writing and editing, because the writing and editing are basically mechanics. It's the mechanics of how you do that. The writing part gets more into content and target audience and that kind of thing. So there's just a lot more to explain about that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Okay, some more good questions here. Let me see. The regular price is $297. And let's see here. Thank you, Kimberly. That's very nice. Will you guide us to finding clients outside of Upwork? So that tends to be a question that we answer on our Tuesday night call. And there's actually one audio interview. I think it's the interview in our 21 Days program with Madam X, who was a master. She built a freelancing business, Elance, at the time. And she asked her Elance clients, for example, that if they had friends of theirs that were in business, to refer those friends directly to her, rather than go through the Elance system. So her story is interesting. She lost her job suddenly for a variety of reasons. She had a month to pay her mortgage, and so she made her mortgage in the first month, and then she was doing 100% of her work on Elance, ultimately got to the point where she was doing 85% of her work outside with clients who pay more, and then if she ever lost a client, she would go back into Elance, and she knew how to bring in more clients. To that extent, we answer questions about that. We have one of our Tuesday night calls, I know that we did, I want to say about 3 months ago, is called Life Beyond the Networks. And so it's the idea of how do you take what you're doing as a freelancer within a network and turn that into other business. Okay, can you explain a bit more exactly how the course works? Is it over a couple of weekends or a few weeks, or it's self-guided? So it's like all of our training programs, they're self-guided, but it has the additional component to it, of course, that you get the live Tuesday night call. And when we promote this product, we tend to get, after we promote it, we get a fair number of people coming through asking questions about the product on the Tuesday night call. So it just varies with that. And we're happy to answer those questions on the Tuesday night call or in support as things go along. But it's very similar to the 21 Days or the research product. If you have that, it's videos and text and audios and that sort of thing. Thank you, Steve. That's nice. Thank you. All right. Thanks, Gert. That's nice. Let's see if I got all the questions here. Okay, I think, yeah, okay. Got one new message here. All right, thank you, Mary. All righty. Any other questions or comments?
Winton, it's Janet again. Could you
Yes.
explain that delayed approach you mentioned? I went over my head. So you
Okay.
can sign up now and then push the start date, or?
Right, you can push the start date out. There's people that I could imagine a scenario where somebody comes into our 21-day program. They go to all the Tuesday night calls for a year or listen to whatever they want to listen to. And then they're out working as a freelancer and they don't want to pay a membership fee, but they're planning in 6 months that they really want to go in depth into the writing. So they don't want to come back to the Tuesday night calls and get the recordings and everything until they're ready to do the deep dive into the writing and editing kind of stuff.
Okay, so when you sign up, do you just tell someone, you just email the
Yes.
office? Okay,
You
thank you.
delayed start and send it to support and we'll take care of all that for you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, okay, thank you. Very good. So yes, did you say you get one counseling session? Yes, it's a review of your profile and there's some information on making sure your profile is tuned up to do this kind of work. And we will take a look at your profile, and usually the coach would set up a call with you after they've reviewed your profile and go through the recommendations. Oh, thank you, Steve. Winston would have been proud. Gert, okay, very good, Gert. Thanks for staying up with us. Yes, I do remember the most famous speech. It's amazing with a name like mine, you can imagine how frequently, maybe Winston Churchill is to this day continues to be in the top 10 political figures most often quoted, which is just remarkable to me. I've had a chance to meet much of his family over the years and have worked on a project with his granddaughter that we're working on right now. And it's been a very interesting look into history, I guess you'd say. Yes, I'm distantly related. The Churchill family in the UK had a person by the name of John Churchill that left the UK in, I want to say, the mid 1600s and came to the United States in the Plymouth colonies, so very early on. And that's the Churchill that I'm related to. And I found out through a DNA test about all this. And so that person is, I'm not a descendant of Winston, but I'm a descendant of an ancestor of Winston. So he and I are descended from the same person up the line is how it works, is the short way to answer it. Yes, and Lori, it is amazing. You read those quotes today and they still ring true in many cases. So yes, cousins removed multiple times. Very good. Oh, that's interesting. Yes, there's a lot of mixed stories about what we're going through right now. And I just watched a video today from a friend of mine that owns a medical laboratory, and very interesting stuff explaining about what's the difference between a virus and a bacteria. And yeah, and I think that freelancing is going to get stronger as we go through this, because businesses are looking for ways to be more flexible, and they're looking for ways to tap talent pools outside just the people that work within their company. Yeah, and this is an interesting quote. Office buildings will be turned into condos. I've had a great opportunity over the last decade to spend time in Shanghai, China, and Quito, Ecuador, and Mexico City. And it's neat to have that urban experience, and it's really become something that's very enjoyable. And it'll be a shame if that all disappears, but certainly for right now, I sure do miss going out to a nice restaurant in Mexico City, or visiting my daughter in Shanghai and going to just very nice restaurants in all kinds of different areas all over Shanghai. Yeah, I think if I was a student now, I don't know how important college would be. I think just being a freelancer and getting out there and working hard and would be the approach. And kids, yeah, everybody's in classes online. So we're all learning, and we're learning what you give up when you learn online. You lose that socialization and the great part of hanging around with your buddies and that kind of thing. In my lifetime, I've never seen anything this big, and a lot of stuff it has to change. Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting thought, Nick. Okay, Cindy, I think are you asking if I prefer Dallas or Mexico? I enjoyed Dallas. I lived here 20 some years ago, 25, 30 years ago. And this is where my business is based. And I get to Dallas maybe 2 or 3 times a year, but usually just for a couple days. And most of my year has been spent in Mexico, and I really love it. It feels like you're living in the 50s. It's just a more relaxed pace of life, and so I really love that.
Do you plan to go back, Winton, to Mexico?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I still have my condo down there, and I'm going to get back there as soon as I safely can.
And is Dallas charging $50 fine for the no mask?
Oh, no, San Miguel de Allende.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's my number 3 choice when I leave to go live elsewhere permanently.
Oh, yeah.
That's my 3rd pick. So
Yeah.
I might see you someday.
Yeah, very good. Look me up. And San Miguel's such a neat small town. There's about 15,000 Americans and Canadians that live there. And you're all the time running into people. And of course, Facebook is very active. They have a Facebook page, several of them for San Miguel. So I look at my list, and there's, I don't know, 100 people I know that are friends of friends that I don't know. But
Yeah.
you go out to dinner and get invited to a birthday party here or there, and you wind up meeting quite a few people.
Well, I'm excited to be moving it. We'll be Central America, Latin America.
Yes,
Central.
yeah, very nice, yeah.
Just not sure which country, and that's why I'm doing these classes. So I enjoy
Oh,
them.
that's great, yeah. No, I love it. You're very welcome. Goodbye, Nick. Thanks for stopping by. Yes, that is, as you have done, I have just thoroughly enjoyed traveling the world for the last 10 years. And it's, after visiting 13 countries last year, it's rough to come to a screeching halt. So let's see. Yes, Lori, I can talk a little bit about doing legal work online. There's a category for legal. There's some other networks that are better than Upwork for doing legal work. The one I like the best is called justanswer.com. And we've had a number of people come through our programs, and it's a little bit different, but the same idea is you put a profile up there, you're bidding on jobs, and also on Tuesday night, happy to answer any questions there about legal work, so I can go a little bit more in depth on that call. Okay, I feel my voice giving out. I don't want to rasp you out. So thank you, Lori. Thank you, Steve. Bob, yes, you stay safe as well. Look forward to the time we're all back traveling and conversing and laughing and having a good time. Cindy, thanks. And I will stay bacteria free. I have the antibacterial soap to prove it. All righty. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Adios, Cindy.
So the other thing I want to emphasize is that this program comes with our full 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can get it. You can look at all the materials. You can decide whether it's a good fit for you or not. But it does. We put a special offer on it. We're taking $100 off the price. The price of the program is $197, and you can see the link below. So that's the sale price. And if this makes sense for you, looks like something you might be able to use, I suggest you download it, go through the materials, take a look at it, and see if it's right for you. So with that, thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you on our Tuesday night calls.